Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everyone. This is Humaira Fasiuddin, and I'm the chief designer of Real Industry. Real Industry is a nonprofit that helps college students navigate their futures from their university lives to their careers. And the Make It Till You Make It Challenge is a 10-week challenge we've been holding this fall where students are um, learning new skills and receiving mentorship from industry professionals to navigate to their careers. And the whole idea behind this is that you have to make it and prototype what your career looks like before you actually pursue your career, that it's not enough to just major in something. You actually have to bring it to life while you're in college and soon after college in order to get the experiences that companies want and that you can use to market yourselves. So we're here with a recent graduate of Milwaukee School of Engineering. She is a industrial engineering graduate as of just this last spring, 2020. I am pleased to introduce to you Tara Rahmani, who also happens to be on the Real Industry team, but it is just so perfect that we can begin with her story, as she will likely be interviewing the next several students for their journeys. Tara, welcome on the show.
Thank you, Mara. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me about your major in college and why you even selected industrial engineering.
Sure. Um, so going into college, or I guess we can back up a little bit. When I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer. And somehow that changed. I just wasn't feeling it. And in high school, I started taking some technical classes, some hands-on like workshop classes in the wood shop. And so I was like, okay, like engineering. And, my teacher was like, oh, women in engineering, we need more, blah, blah, blah. Um, and I was just kind of like, why not? I didn't really know what else I wanted to do. So that's what I explored, because there's a lot to explore in engineering or STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Um, so when I went to MSOE, you applied directly into your program. So I first actually applied as a mechanical engineer. And then before I started, I switched to an electrical engineer because my teacher was saying, you can move higher in the ranks. There's not a lot of women in electrical engineering, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't really give it much thought. I was just kind of like, okay, more money. I don't know, electrical engineering. I took my intro class to electrical engineering. I was the only girl, and I didn't like it at all. I had like no interest in wiring things and the math behind electrical engineering. I mean, it's great. I love that we have power and internet and Wi-Fi or whatever, light bulbs, but it just wasn't me. And so then I had kind of like a little crisis where I was like, is engineering for me? Do I switch to this? Do I drop out? Do I change colleges? Like, it was a whole mess. And then I reached out. I just emailed our like registrar office. I didn't even like email a specific person. I think I just said registrar at msoe.edu. I was just like, somebody help me. Um, and I said, hey, I don't not like engineering, but I need to talk to more people. I can't like stare at a breadboard and like figure out circuits. Like, I can't do that. And so they said, how about industrial engineering? And industrial engineering, I was like, okay, that sounds good, because some people call it business engineering, um, systems engineering, human factors engineering, and that's what really got me. So industrial engineering is all about optimization of complex processes. So whether it's a system, an organization, a manufacturing process, whatever it is, as small or as big as it is, like industrial engineering is it. Um, and so a lot of that is like people, money, things, products, and so it deals with a lot of different aspects. Um, and so that's what I decided to do. And now, throughout industrial engineering, I learned that there's so much to it, and it was kind of cool because in the program, you take mechanical engineering classes, we took electrical engineering classes, we took like a civil engineering class. So you have to know kind of like a little bit about all these different fields. So because often industrial engineers become like project managers, and to be a good project manager, you want to understand all of the things on your team that you're managing. So that's why I went to industrial.
That's pretty awesome. So can you give me an example of a project that you might have done in one of those classes, or maybe it was an extracurricular activity that really like brought you joy, where it just like brought industrial engineering to life, in terms of like understanding these different aspects and like bringing together the people and the money, that you can point to and be like, ah, that's why I really wanted to do this.
So actually, we had a guest speaker who came in and talked about human factors engineering or industrial engineering in healthcare, and she sold me because it was just nuts, the story she told. Basically, what happened is she was working in a hospital, and this girl who is 16, or just a teenager, she comes in pregnant, going into labor, and already it's stressful with the teen pregnancy. And then she has like a big family that's in the room, and they're all screaming, like, my kid's in pain, my kid's in pain, do something, all yelling at the doctors. So it's just like chaos. And technically, I guess the rules of a hospital are you have one nurse in the room and you have one IV bag in the room at a time. So just one. But it was hectic, so another nurse stepped in, and then another nurse brought a different bag or a different IV pole, and everything was going so quickly. And they're like, she's in pain, she's in pain. And there was two IV bags. One had a hot pink tag, and the other one was a hot orange tag. So in the wrong lighting, like, hot pink, hot orange, you can't really tell. And the nurse that stepped in to help accidentally put the epidural into the girl's IV because there was no difference, and it killed her.
Oh, wow.
And then the example that this guest speaker afterwards said, just like the games that we play as a kid, where kids put a circular block into the circular hole, it doesn't fit in the square hole. If the IV was a square and the epidural was a circle, that mistake couldn't even happen under the most pressing circumstances. And so I was just like, oh, like, wow, like seemingly so simple of a fix that would save a life.
Right.
And that's what really drove me into industrial engineering, but more specifically like human-centered design and healthcare, because hospitals, doctors and nurses are already so stressed enough and so like overworked. Why don't we make all the different systems in place so much easier so that we can all do our jobs better?
That's pretty amazing, Tara. I mean, just the way you described a real world situation where you could help people and how you could see your industrial engineering major coming to life in that way. That's what it's all about, right? We ultimately end up selecting majors that give us some purpose in life and allow us to fulfill some kind of mission that we might make our life's mission. So that is a beautifully articulated vision of what one could achieve with an industrial engineering major. So tell me, how did you then build in experiences throughout your college career that allowed you to exercise your industrial engineering mindset?
Yeah. So I had a lot of internships during my college career, which was really great. A lot of them were like manufacturing focused and very process oriented, which I think really helped me to build like a foundation for my industrial engineering mindset. There's not a lot like industrial engineering in healthcare is still kind of like still breaking into that field. And so there wasn't a lot of internships, but it's needed. But since those opportunities weren't like quite available, I just took internships that, first of all, I challenged myself and I took internships out of state. So I said, you could stay in Milwaukee where you were born and raised and where you go to school, and you could stay in your comfort zone, or you could pick up and move across the country for 3 months, and then everything will be here when you come back. And so that's what I did twice. Um, so I specifically looked for internships that would build my foundation in industrial engineering and also would push me to go explore and also jump into a entirely new environment. Um, so I did a lot of like manufacturing process oriented internships. And then as I kind of completed all of the gen eds and more technical classes, and when there was more room, I decided to do my electives were like human factors engineering, ergonomics, and then I did an independent study in design thinking, and applying that to higher education, specifically to like engineering classes and how to apply design thinking exercises um, in different like technical classes at MSOE.
That's pretty neat. So did incorporating design thinking into your learning help you further your industrial engineering understanding?
I think so. I mean, it kind of, I can like a high level timeline. Going into college, I was like, okay, I'm going to get this degree, get it in 4 years, get out, get a good paying job that'll pay for my MBA. I was very just like, boom, 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 like we're done. I didn't think about extracurriculars, anything. So it was very, I'd say kind of like narrow minded, unless that is really like your goal, like that's cool. But that mindset closed me off to seeing a lot of things. And then as I got older, I'd say like sophomore year, I was involved in a lot of extracurriculars, which helped because it pushed me to use my like problem solving skills and also my systems thinking to apply it to every organization I was a part of, especially when I was a leader of that organization. And then I joined the fellows program my junior year, and that really pushed me to just think outside the box and to see like diversity in a different light. Like there's power in diversity. And I don't think a lot of times we don't like realize that, or we just think of it as a quota, or like, oh yeah, it's good to have, diverse people and diverse perspectives, but like, why is it good? Like, don't just call it good. Why is it good? And so once I joined the fellows program, that's where I learned design thinking. Um, it really pushed me to take something so innovative and so not the norm at MSOE. Like MSOE is a very, or it was just a traditional engineering school, and to take that like entrepreneurial mindset, the innovative mindset, the iterations, the design thinking, and how can I take engineering, what's usually seen as kind of like this very technical, and how can I add flavor and diversity to make it even more innovative and more impactful. Um, I don't know if that answered the question. But.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I want to know how you were able to looking back now to say, these are experiences that show off that I applied my industrial engineering and uh, maybe / design thinking mindset to the problems in the world around me. And one example of that is the Fellows Program. And for those of you who don't know, that's the University Innovation Fellows Program. That's something Tara and I have in common. But it's where you are essentially identifying opportunities to innovate the higher education experience and creating new assets and learning opportunities for yourself and other peers on campus. And so we can pick on that example, although if you have other examples of how you brought your systems thinking mindset to life, that would be awesome to hear about. But let's pick on the University Innovation Fellows experience. You identified something in the system that was missing. And then you went about prototyping and bringing to life new assets that addressed that gap that you saw. So can you parse it down into those very simple terms of what did you see that was missing from a system standpoint, and what did you introduce into the system that helped move it forward to be the non-vanilla engineering program that it used to be, but the vibrant entrepreneurially mindseted program that it is now?
Mm-hmm. So taking from the fellows program the innovative mindset and the design thinking, and then we started doing like design thinking workshops on campus and just kind of like putting your toes in the water, seeing if people would show up, seeing if they'd be interested, and very open-ended workshops. And then I have a wonderful professor, Dr. Shalmova, who was in our user experience department, and she was just like, like we can do something here. These Because higher education, we know that it needs to change now more than ever. Many it's lecture based, and I'm sorry if you're just gonna read me a PowerPoint that you either made or found on the internet. I can do that from the comfort of my bed or for free. And you're not getting any intrinsic happiness from just reading to me, and I'm not getting any value or intrinsic happiness, or it's really hard to stay awake. So just being honest. So we need to incorporate things like experiential learning and project-based learning. And so that's what we did with design thinking. So a lot of beginner level courses that have team projects. So we worked with, well, actually all over the board. We worked with freshman architectural engineers, mechanical engineers. We worked with the senior biomedical engineers on their big senior like capstone project. And whether they were at the beginning of their project or in the middle, wherever they were, we like facilitated a workshop. So something that would usually be a lecture or maybe like a work on your own type time, like basically just a meeting with your team, we gave them the tools and facilitated the use of those tools for them to like bring their projects to life and to actually, give a shit about their projects. And it's not just like because the engineering design process, brainstorm, define the problem, prototype, blah, blah, blah. But it's very kind of linear. And so we were able to work with all these different classes on projects that they were already doing to actually make those projects more than just a paper that they submitted at the end of the course. So that was a really cool opportunity to work with so many different professors in a couple different engineering fields to do that. And also with my own industrial engineering, we did one as well.
And I saw some videos of some of the events that you and your colleagues hosted across campus, and they did not look like your traditional learning opportunities. They looked like joyful learning opportunities where students were smiling and engaging. There was music, there was some dancing. I think one of your colleagues is like an improv actor and theater person, and it looked like you really infused some life into the culture of your institution, and talk about a great way to bring your industrial engineering major to life. It was like changing that system, which is so traditional and so hard to change. Most students don't have a chance to change their higher ed institutions. Final word on that experience and how it helped you see yourself as a better industrial engineer?
I think it really helped take away a lot of fear and hesitation, because especially if you're jumping into, you graduate and you start at a new company, there's already a system in place. So the automatic like human response is to assimilate to whatever system is in place. But even better, if we can remove the fear and the hesitation, we can look at that system from a fresh perspective and disrupt it to become even better. So versus just assimilating, and me having the opportunity to do this in college with kind of like a little bit more of a safety net, because there's no salary on the line or anything. We're just like testing ways to make student life better and student education better. It taught me that like it's not that bad. Taking that leap or disrupting or trying something new, and what's the end of the world? They say no. It doesn't work. You go back to what you were already doing. So I think a lot of it helped to dismantle the fear and dismantle the automatic response to just assimilate to whatever's given to you versus looking at it from a bird's eye view, looking at it for all that it is, and then doing your best to improve it or optimize it. So we did that in both the classrooms and also with campus life too. So it was trickled in a lot of different ways. And I hope that it continues to kind of like with similar in parallel with the entrepreneurial mindset. I hope that it continues to push students to not just accept what they're given, but to make it better and get what they deserve.
So beautifully said. So as you graduated and were looking out at the vast career opportunities available to you, you had a clear idea of what you wanted to do. And I snapped you up early in that experience. I recognized that we were lucky to have you at Real Industry. I needed a partner in crime to take something that was not yet perfectly formed and help bring it to life. And so I really, I'm grateful that you joined the team. But I'm also interested in knowing, as you surveyed the landscape of more traditional industrial engineering jobs, how did your experiences at college in your extracurricular opportunities, where you can point to, hey, not only did I major in industrial engineering, I actually did it, and this is how I can show evidence of my experience. Um, how were you able to draw upon that in the interviews that you had and the companies that you spoke with? How did that factor in?
Mhm. It's a good question. Definitely went through kind of like a quarter life crisis because relatively making decisions is easy in high school because you go to class 8 hours a day. These are the classes you take. Do you might have room for a couple electives, but like otherwise it's pretty clear cut and dry, like what you do to graduate. And kind of similar in college, you pick a major, you have that track. Some colleges give you more leeway in choosing your electives and whatnot. Um, but this plan I had for myself to graduate in 4 years and then get an engineering job, get an MBA, just went out the window. I didn't graduate in 4 years. I took some time off of school. I didn't go into an engineering job. And as of right now, I'm not getting my MBA. So I didn't do any of
You
it.
might in the future, but for now you're not.
Yeah, and that's totally cool because I'm 23 and the world's my oyster. So I'm not disappointed, but it's just crazy. And I think a lot of students struggle with this, especially now. Like change is hard, especially because we find comfort after we make a decision. Okay, this is my choice. I'm studying this. This is my job. I'm doing this. Whew, okay, I don't need to think about it anymore. I'm just doing it. But when change is thrown at you, even if it's good change, it's still fearful. And that's the reason a lot of people sit in a place or a job they don't like, even if they could get like their a rock star, their dream job, because the in between, the change, the making the decisions is scary as heck. And so I kind of threw that out the window. My friends call me a reckless optimist, and sometimes it comes in waves. Um, but I kind of was just like, okay, well, I'm going to take whatever opportunity comes to me. And so if that's an engineering job, maybe, but I kind of was like, engineering is always going to be there. Let me see what else is out there and how can I like better, build myself because I don't want to just go to engineering straight out of college. I'd just be a textbook engineer. I want to be better than that. I want to bring real world perspectives and other things that I've learned so I can be a kick-ass engineer that is innovative and entrepreneurial minded and really, really, really focused on humans. And that's why I was like, I'm not going into engineering right away because I need to get out and meet other humans. And so I was lucky. I had 4 engineering internships during my college career. So I had one every year. So I was very privileged in that sense to like obtain one every year. And so I had a decent amount of experience in engineering and like an idea of it. And so I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna dabble in something else. So I worked for like a different nonprofit entrepreneurial accelerator program, the Commons, and that was incredible. And then I worked for Shea Robotic Marketing and like social media and marketing, and that was not my jazz, but that was incredible. And then now I'm working at Real Industry, and in between I had odd jobs and freelancing, and so but I had that confidence in that foundation because I got my degree in engineering, but especially in industrial engineering because I um I learned to be a problem solver and I learned to look at the big picture, the whole system.
Tara, what an incredible journey. And all the while, I think what you've shown is that you were introspective. You kept asking yourself, is this right for me? How do I feel about this? And you were able to reflect and make choices that felt right. You didn't just rest on your laurels and just go through it for the sake of plodding along and going through it. You really challenged yourself to make those choices. And sometimes that led you down a different path. Um, but that's exactly what you need to do, is constantly be aware of what you're thinking and learning and feeling, and be able to make course corrections. And what I especially love is that it wasn't enough for you to just phone it in and take the college classes, that you did take extracurricular experiences that allowed you to really put your education to work for you. And uh, I, for one, as someone at Real Industry, am able to point to those skill sets and say, yeah, we hired you for that, Tara. You had the ability to identify and understand the system, identify gaps in that system, and bring to life those learning opportunities for students and change the culture of the school. And that was valuable. If you had not had that experience, if you were just like straight up taking classes and you had this degree, even if with internships, I don't think I'd be nearly as interested in you as a candidate or a partner in crime to do this work. So I think that's always really important, is that you know what you want to be, but then you, in the process of becoming that thing, you actually start doing the thing, start doing it, start making it, start becoming, so that you can make it. And so I admire your work, and yeah, look forward to hearing the next chapter of your journey.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see. And my reckless optimist like piece of advice is it's like nothing's the end of the world. Just give it a shot. If you don't like it, you just go back to what you were doing or try something else. Like nothing's permanent.
Well said. Thank you, Tara.